Welcome to Coxie's Picks. If you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe. Enjoy.
Hello and welcome to Coxie's Picks, and today we're going to be doing a little bit of a picking tutorial, hence the reason we've got a see-through cuff here, but this is mainly just so that we can point out where we're attacking. But the actual cuff in question is going to be against Peerless. Not many people show Peerless being picked, so I thought I'd show one of my favourite ways, which is using a straight edge. So for this experiment we've got the bypass blade, which, as you've been following my channel, you'll notice that I use half of it on my happy tool so that we can pick, and the other side is a echo teardrop from Lawlock Tools. So let's get down to business. So the first cuff in question that we're going to start off with is the Peerless 700C. Now we're going to exploit one of the parts of the mechanism, and the way that we were going to be doing it is, notice that the key is in the center point rather than off to the side like on Smith & Wesson and many other various cuff manufacturers. But bizarrely, the double lock is still in the point. There are models preceding this, but the technique that we're going to use works even easier on the older models. It's just that a few variations have changed from the model 700 onwards. So how does it work? Well, like any other cuff, you have your bow, your split and your push, which sets the double lock, which stops the bow from going through. To reset it, you put the key in and you move the bar across, and then the double lock is removed. Now, when I say we're going to exploit the mechanism, I'm not kidding. If we look at this particular cuff, and on the split bar, you'll notice that the leaf spring sits into a divot, and as we push the divot out, you can see that the leaf spring has moved into a secondary divot. So as I come up closer, so you can see the two divots. Now notice that they're in the center of the cuff. Now the actual Peerless bar is actually across a bit because this is designed for this particular keyway, but the principle is the same. We're going to be aiming for this trough. Now in the 700 it was quite pronounced, so we should be able to find it, he says quite confidently, quite easily. Now what we're going to be doing is we're going to reach in with our bypass blade and we're going to try and make contact with that gap, and it sits around about here, and then we're going to fire it across. So it's going to be at a 45-degree angle and then with a shove. Okay, so let's see if we can get it so that you can see. So I'll just change the angle. Okay, so we'll go in at the bottom of the keyway, slide in across and see if we're in the position. We weren't, so we'll go in again and just feel for it. We're in the right place. Double lock done. Easy as that. So let's go again. In we go. Feel for the position. It kind of clicks into place. And then you can see it shoot out. And then we've got the double lock off. So with the double lock removed, all we need to do then is figure out the single lock. So the single lock on this one, and if I come up at this sort of weird jolly angle, you'll see a piece of silver just inside there. Believe it or not, that's our lever which comes around and then pulls the pulls down. So we can actually see it on the 700s, which means that all we need to do is reach in and then just nudge it, and that's it. But that same 45-degree angle we can use on the other models, because the mechanism, even though the keyhole gets smaller, right, is exactly the same. And to prove a point here, what we'll do is we'll jump up to the 730C, which realistically they deserve their own talk and merit on them because they are so light and everything else. However, again, looking through the keyway, you can see the same Peerless metal tinge just shining just there, which means that all you have to do is line up. Now it's a bit tighter because the keyways are tighter tolerance, but again, just push it and over it goes. So that's the 730, and the double lock is done exactly the same way. And the reason I'm not repeating the double lock is because nothing important changes between these two variations. Then we move on to the 801. Now, I like these cuffs because they demonstrate the differences in tolerances. One cuff is really easy and the other cuff is really difficult, and that's because the spring is slightly tighter on one side than the other. I'm not sure whether that's done by design or what. However, the positioning is exactly the same. So straight away I've picked up the tight side. So once you're in the position, you just need to provide more force. So hang on a second, we'll get there. You can see the bow's dancing. Let's just change angle. There we are, and done. So I got the tight side straight away. Then we'll go on to the other side, and it's like minimum effort to get it open. The same model, different tolerances. So you just need to get used to the feel of how it works. And then we come on to the daddy, the 850Cs. Now, what they did is they reverted back to the open keyway, right, making our life easy as a picker with access. But what they didn't tell everyone is that they've changed the spring on the single pulls, so it's now well meaty, and the double lock is no longer sitting here for the bar. Sitting here for the bar, right? It's moved slightly back, so the key still catches it, but it means that our leaf spring has changed location. Now you'd think that would make life harder for us, but actually it was counterintuitive, because now all we need to do is reach in and then flick, and you can feel it moving across. Oh, got myself jammed up. Torque's a good pick, but we got it. So I'll show again. Double lock. No double lock. Don't have to attack it at 45 degrees. We can just sit right in front of it and move the whole thing across. We don't have to actually sit in the leaf spring. But you've got the double lock off. Now you've got that wonderful joy of trying to aim for the silver piece, which is tucked further back and behind a more meatier spring. So what I have found is that when you're wearing it, you apply tension to the outside. You're trying to force out your wrist, and then you can pull yourself free. If you were able to apply more force and actually physically pull it down, then yes, you'd be able to get that. Now one of the ways to do that is with physics and using a hook. So we now can go in and we can feel for the point and then apply more pressure, which is where the key comes in. If we were to use a key, you'd feel it's more stiff compared to other Peerless models, and if you're a regular Peerless handcuff owner, you might think that there'd be an issue, or maybe you've got a defective set, but it's purely the 850C that they uprated the springs. Maybe it was a stock thing, I don't know. But what else do Peerless do? They also do leg chains. These are the 703s. Nothing changes. The mechanism is identical. Reach in and done. But what about the smaller transport chains? The 702s. Exactly the same. Reach in, find the spot, and you're away. So, the only thing that Peerless changes throughout all of their range is the size of the keyhole and the slight positioning on the double lock. But once you know how to pick one, you can pick them all. You just need to be able to feel for what you've got going on, right, and where the actual cuff is leading you. So I hope you enjoyed it. I know it was a bit of a long one, and I know there was lots of cuffs on show. Hopefully it was useful to someone. Stay safe everyone, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.